People say sometimes that education is broken, and I don't agree with that. Education is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is, it was designed over 100 years ago during the Industrial Revolution, when the aim was to put kids on assembly lines in factories where 95% of the jobs were back then.
Education has served the Industrial Revolution. Education was about rows and systems and efficiently moving kids through. Mainly, can you follow rules? Can you show up? Can you sit in a desk? Can you pay attention? And if you could do that, then there was a whole series of jobs you could do, right? And so people have a place to go and get some basic skills and then move out into that and be on a line. And that system and model kind of held through.
I would think back to what education looked like before this Industrial Revolution. The education everywhere, whether it was with an indigenous society, back to ancient Greece and Socratic forms of education, never looked like one teacher in the front of a room with 25 kids staring at them.
Especially in education, with more and more demands and more backgrounds, the diversities that we have, that cannot be put on one person in a classroom to do that.
Technology is advancing at a blistering pace. It completely changes the skills and mindsets the kids are going to need. Schools know they need to innovate, but it's hard. And so I'm encouraged by the power and the effectiveness of team-based teaching as a means toward the goal of creating learning experiences that equip kids with the skills and mindsets they're going to need in their futures.
Their kids are all different, with different needs. It's like they all come from the same family, the same home, the same genetics, but yet they're all so different. They have different interests and likes and passions. For the purpose of this first little exercise, I want you to think of just one. Think of one of those youngsters, and then think of the dispositions that you want that one youngster to develop in life.
Confidence, compassion,
resilient,
curiosity,
responsible, courage,
integrity, critical thinking,
happy.
Happy at the buzzer. I was starting to panic because I've been doing this for over 20 years. The only disposition that has shown up every single time, no matter who, no matter where the audience is, happy is the one character trait, the one disposition that shows up. First and foremost, we want our kids to be happy, right? We want our kids to be happy.
I don't follow scripts. I have a grave conviction that you create them. And in our world in public education, everything's predicated on scripts. And every year you can go back to doing the same old thing and just try to do it better and better every year. The other approach to improving schools or cultures in any organization, in any industry, is to discard the idea that you have to do the same old thing better. I gave up on that well over 20 years ago. At all costs, I focus on doing better things.
We're the largest school district in the state of Arizona. We serve over 58,000 children in 81 buildings. We have to think about this promise of knowing every student by name, serving them by strength and need so that they graduate ready for college, career, and community. That is an aspirational promise, and it's really daunting because school systems were never designed to deliver upon that promise.
We shouldn't have to wait until we graduate to experience life. Education shouldn't be some preparation for some future realm of living. We should experience life now.
We needed to reach out to a thought partner, which happened to be Arizona State University. They're Mary Lou Fulton Teacher College, and they have been working with us side by side to reimagine what school can be for students, and most importantly, what the working conditions of teachers need to be so that we can deliver upon that promise.
Right now, we're at a pivotal point where we've got to change the structure of these schools. We have seen, as the largest teachers college in the country, that we see fewer people coming into this profession. We see more people leaving very quickly.
ASU has humongous reach. They've been doing some really cool things across the nation, and specifically with their initiative called the Next Education Workforce.
At the end of the day, the Next Education Workforce Initiative is a paradigm shift in the way that we staff schools. For the longest time, we've been putting a single educator in a box and hoping that that person can be all things to all people at all times. Given a particular learner, who's the team of people that that learner needs in order to flourish and thrive? And the answer is never a single person.
When we started this about 5 or 6 years ago, Mesa Public Schools and other school districts here in Arizona and now across the country stepped up and said, we'd like to work on this with you. And so this is how do we move from a one teacher, one classroom model to thinking about teachers working in teams with distributed expertise.
At the simplest level, team teaching is a pair of adults, teachers, coming together around a shared, common, often larger roster of kids. And that the moment that you have two people working together, all sorts of things are new, different, and possible, right?
Picture a standard classroom. You have one teacher with a group of 20 or 30 kids. This teacher is all on their own. Regardless of their subject matter experience, they have no support system. In a single hallway of a typical school, you might have 5 classrooms with 30 kids in each one adult all alone supervising each group. One example of team teaching is you could take those 150 students and combine them together to be managed by a team of 5 teachers. Then each teacher would lead a given subject, but the teachers could work together as a group to develop lesson plans and strategize student outcomes, working together to bounce ideas, provide feedback and mentorship, and provide better outcomes for their students.
What's happening in Mesa Public Schools is we have really embarked on a journey to reinvent public education. Public education has been in drastic need of change for probably close to 30 years.
I have been teaching 35 years. The first 5-6 years weren't too hard, but then the demands on what teachers needed to do, I kept doing the same thing over and over. Whatever curriculum they wanted me to do, I would do. The results were the same, and the children weren't progressing. And then they would tweak it, and we would do something else, and we just weren't seeing the children progressing. And I would work and work and work, and we all would, and we would never see any results. And it was getting very frustrating.
And we're really focusing on really sharpening our innovative problem solver skills of speaking and listening. Miss Miranda is going to teach us about her green yard waste program.
Miranda is going to share her courage, and so we are going to listen with open hearts because it's important to demonstrate courage and appreciate courage when we see it. Yes. All right.
Helps the environment to collect materials so they're converted into composting.
Whoa, cool, Miranda.
I have been a teacher for 17 years. I started as an elementary education teacher, and then No Child Left Behind sort of burnt me out of public education.
I started student teaching in 2020. I have grown up as a team teacher. I love team teaching so much. I'm able to professionally develop at such a rate because I get to learn from all of these amazing educators.
Teaming is definitely more satisfying. I enjoy working with the team I have, and I have seen the benefits of it, and I enjoy coming to work now. I don't kind of dread going to work anymore. I really do enjoy coming to work.
I would not be in education without teaming. I would not. Those ladies were my lifeline. You're talking about making phone calls to parents. It wasn't just me now making the phone call to the parent. It was the team making the phone call to the parent. That looks and sounds very different when it's a one-on-one. It was a team.
We have basically a teacher shortage. And I think one of the reasons we have a teacher shortage is because the environment is just impossible to be successful in. You have one teacher in a one classroom model. Teachers are alone and struggle. Human beings in struggle, when you struggle alone, you feel depressed, you feel lonely. And we're losing a lot of our teachers in their first 3 years because we put them in an environment it just doesn't feel good. So we need to create better environments for our teachers if we want to have better environments for our students.
So coming from coaching and then coming to teaming are almost identical. The model for teaming here at Westwood is a team lead. On a football team, you have a head coach. Then you have a bunch of content area experts. Position coaches on a football team, they are literally interconnected, right? So we all share expertise within our program, but it's super easy because we all play a role. I'm not a subject matter expert in algebra. I'm not a content area expert in biology, right? But we have people that play roles to allow us to build up and support that team to be successful. We all play a part, and teaming's no different, right? We all have different experts, some areas where we're experts. We all have content area expertise. We all have different degrees. We all have different life experiences, and it allows us to be successful.
I think what's so isolating about being a classroom teacher is the pressure. You have to be good at everything. When a day was really good and something funny happened, there was nobody in there to laugh with me. When something really sad happened, there was nobody to cry about it with me. It was just like I was an adult on my own with a tremendous amount of pressure.
It's like, whoa, this is innovative. This is like so interesting. And I was drawn in by like how the students reacted to each other and to the teachers. I was like, did not have that at my high school, or my personal experience wasn't like that.
Previously, I thought my relationships with students were one of my strengths, and being on a team, my relationships with my students are even stronger.
Having 5 different teachers is very helpful. You don't have one teacher teaching you one thing and like just staying there all day. I just need to learn differently.
Just the project work and how they make it for us to work together, it just makes me feel like I'm a part of something.
Usually it's just like take notes, stay silent, only do groups when you say so. But in here it's like we're like willing to like be free and like brainstorm.
You're always talking, you're always getting help, you're always doing many projects with people, and I don't know, I find it more fun and easier to do.
In the doing is the learning. There is almost secret learning that happens, almost serendipitous learning that happens by engaging in a cohort of students and educators as we try to explore a concept.
There's a lot of evidence about peer relationships, particularly how we utilize older children to help younger children. Absolutely.
We bring students over to Stevenson Elementary School twice a week to work on teams. They are community educators on those teams, and some of them are future teachers. Some of them will talk about wanting to be a teacher or pursuing teaching as a career, and how different the learning environment looks at Stevenson, how different the doors in between classrooms enable teachers to collaborate differently, and how having 4 teachers instead of just 1 teacher in their second grade or first grade experience might have changed the way they thought about school or experienced school. And so one of the ways we're working with the community is to bring the community as part of these teaming models so that they feel better prepared to implement them in the future, but also understand what's going on in their school communities.
Leading up to the first days of school as a student teacher, I was like still confused at how this works. And then the kids show up and it really just works. Like it's almost like magic where the kids know what they need to do, they can be held accountable, they can follow their own schedules. I think a lot of us are like, I don't know about this, like how can a 3rd grader be able to follow their own schedule all day long? But it's really cool how easily they're able to adapt to their surroundings and do what they need to do and be responsible for themselves.
From all the homerooms, we gather into one room. We always have a greeting. We say hello to each other to start our day off on a positive note. We always have a question of the day to get kids talking to each other. We always play some kind of game to get kids working, interacting with each other, and just overall starting our day off on a positive note. The kids love it. They look forward to family meeting every day, and they're bummed when we don't have family meeting. And then we always end with our mantra, which is,
When I was a high school intern, I was able to go into different classrooms and just assist, even if it was for 30 minutes. Having those conversations with the teacher with no students around, it feels like they have a lot on their plate. Planning for 5 lessons, I think is something that I would want to stay away from just because right now I'm teaching writing and I'm able to put all of my energy and all of my knowledge into making writing lessons for my students that I know they'll benefit from.
Good morning. Good morning.
Today is Monday. It is also, what day is it today?
I just felt like many days I wasn't giving my students what they needed. I felt like a lot of the times I was working with the same 5 or 6 students who needed all of my support during the day, and unfortunately that meant that 20 others were surviving. That felt defeating to me because I knew that those 20 other students needed all of me just like the other 5 got. And it wasn't until we did a teaming model that I realized that I could actually teach 90 kids and give them so much more support than I ever did. And that makes me feel good when I go home each day.
I'm not focusing on teaching 5 subjects a day. I'm focusing on my one subject, and I can get really, really good at that. And then I have people around me who can help me. I mean, it like blows my mind to not have a team.
The whole model is different than we're ever used to. We're used to have one teacher up there lecturing and us taking notes. And recently I've been able to go visit some other schools that are doing the same thing and walking these classrooms, and you see what's going on and you want every parent to see what's happening.
So they're taking content from Spanish, world history, English, and biology all together. And they've created this culminating escape room that the kids have to use their content knowledge from each of those and escape this room. So what I wanted to show you is that these flexible spaces that we have allow teachers to be able to create one giant classroom like this when they're doing an awesome project like this, or, you know, shut it off if they need just their, you know, traditional space where they just want a small group of kids.
Watching these teachers work together, watching these kids interact, and I want to go back to high school now because it's a whole new ballgame and it's awesome.
We invite students and families out to come tour so they can see it in action, and just the idea of their student having a whole team of educators to wrap around them versus just one teacher meeting the needs of this whole classroom.
One of the things about the teaming model that I loved seeing that was beyond that educational support for my child was just the way the collaborative, right, the project-based learning was really great. And I think that that is exciting and intuitive to kids to say, this is some real-world application for what I'm learning, and it makes it more practical. And so yes, I think a lot of my kids would have benefited from that.
People have a traditional way of looking at how high school works. So it's been hard to open their eyes to something different. To say to a science teacher, hey, what if we integrate some English, some reading and writing into your science curriculum? Hey, what if what you're teaching in science also you look at through a historical lens? And so world history incorporates biology, incorporates English. Like, what if we look at this through multiple disciplines instead of just teaching your content in isolation?
We have 99 kids in our team. We had 98 of them in our classroom today. And every single one of those were here. The one student was sick. So you have engagement, you have collaboration.
So I was just in a negative mindset about school, and I just did not like being in school. But now I just have a more positive mindset about it.
Okay, so right now our students are setting up, thank you, for a art auction. There's going to be a gala this evening. We have community members, educators, people from ASU and Mesa are coming to raise money for our program. So students have created art, and right now this chaos is them getting ready to welcome people in. So in all these vases, you're gonna take these and you're gonna put them in, and they're gonna be centerpieces. Wherever you wanna put them. Really? You're in charge of centerpieces. Yeah.
Deep, meaningful learning, the kind of learning that every child needs to be able to know how to do for the future, requires relationships. Finding that knowledge and the use of that knowledge in the course of building relationships. That's how you get deep learning.
But this expectation that every single teacher in 3.2 million classrooms across this country are all going to be the same, with the same skills and same experience and same everything, is just not humanly possible. And we don't expect that in any other working environment except schools.
us as school administrators, as leaders of education, can create for teachers the type of learning environments we would like them to create for students. Number one, we need to, in our time together as adults, engage in cooperative learning, engage in wrestling with big ideas.
If we think it's so important for kids to learn from each other, right, to find meaning in their work with each other, then how in the world can we do that at scale if those who are teaching them are not learning from each other?
When we meet as a team in the afternoons, we get to talk about what worked, what didn't work well, and it's just really helpful for me to reflect and then implement these strategies that other teachers use.
I genuinely trust that when you guys tell me I did something well now, I actually feel like I did. And I'm not just they're just saying that so I walk away and then they start talking about me. I feel it now because I'm visualizing it coming through my violet bubble and it hit me, so.
Oh my God, these three make me so happy right now. I feel like how I want to celebrate is hearing those three things come out of your mouth. The level of confidence, that's my gift. Thanks, you guys.
Team-based teaching is rolled out in more than 100 schools in over a dozen states. And you might be wondering, does this even work? While early, so far, evidence is good. Teachers have lower turnover rates and report being more satisfied in their work. They are more likely to recommend teaching as a career. They end up taking fewer sick days and needing less frequent substitute teachers. They feel more supported and less isolated. Lead teachers have turnover rates 40% less than other teachers in their same school. Team teachers are also more likely to be evaluated as highly effective. For those students, the outcome is just as good. Although team-taught classrooms aren't putting focus on test prep, third graders in team classrooms make as much as 1.4 more months of reading growth compared to traditional models. Even better, students also report feeling higher levels of teacher engagement and that they have more opportunities for collaboration with both their teachers and their peers.
We are in the what we call launching phase. This is with my second year here and our team. We spent the first year developing a teaming model across 9th grade to meet the needs of all of our 9th grade students.
In these models, we're saying take all those same people, because those are all the people who have interest and passion and really, really want to support these children. How do we take the people who are already there and start to build teams?
We have now launched 4 9th grade teams on our campus that are wall-to-wall. We are full inclusion with that, with our special education and our English language learners.
We are scaling this, and our goal is to scale this at a rate across our district, and we're the largest district in Arizona, that people have to pay attention to us.
The advice that we've had is, one, keep doing what you're doing. Start small. Don't try to flip a whole school or an entire school system all at once. Instead, we empower the educators to work with their schools, their communities, to actually build staffing models that make sense in their context.
So we started with a small group, and we have worked by invitation. I think that's a secret to this as well, is that we came together and said, we think we know what we're talking about with this teaming model, but let's bring together some principals that are interested.
We always started with a yes. It didn't matter how crazy the idea was. We start with the yes, and then we figure it out. It evolved over time.
When you start doing this, you find those innovative teachers, those early adopters.
One team. Just start with one team, right? And that's where many of our schools start. Find your best leader, right, who can start to think about this. That leader finds one team of teachers who says, yeah, pick me, they get it, and it starts. And then other teachers look in and go, oh my gosh, I want to work that way.
One of the things I always tell leaders is stop reading education books. Start looking to where innovation is happening, at companies like, Google and Apple and NASA and all these places, and what are they doing? Well, they're all working in teams.
This is the right work for adults, and it's the right work for kids, and ultimately it's the right work for community, because we're going to produce human beings that are ready for those jobs that are high wage and high need in our communities.
I go out to schools and I interview teachers, asking them why they want to stay in Mesa Public Schools, why they want to stay at their school, and teaming is the first thing that I hear.
I've been giving tours of school for well over 20 years, so this is something that we've done many times, and appreciate you making time to come see our vision of what school can be.